I'm Dave Haynes. I'm the opinions editor at the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, and we're joined today on this edition of Fourth and State by three members of the legislative leadership in Wisconsin. I want to start the questioning today with James Causey, who's our editorial columnist and blogger. James?
Speaker, it seems like you come out in favor of the proposed Kenosha casino. Can you tell me why and where do you think the governor is right now on that?
Sure. The casino has been a huge topic of discussion in the area that I represent, and I always tell people it's difficult sometimes because I have to wear two different hats. One where I have to think about the best interest of the entire state, and the other where I have to worry about the people who actually elect me and ask me to be their champion in Madison. So the situation is pretty clear. When the casino proposal came out originally, I had some serious doubts about it. I still do, to be quite honest. I think that there were two parts that caused me great heartburn. One, the requirement in the proposal originally from the Menominee that said you had to basically be a member of a union in order to work at the new casino. And the second proposal that in essence said we're going to have to figure out how to pay for this thing because there are the compacts that were negotiated by Governor Doyle. I think that it sounds as if the first item has been addressed, where the Menominee have said that's no longer going to be a part of their requirement for people who work at the casino to be a member of a union. The second one is still up in the air. I think so if I put on my speaker's hat, I have a great deal of concern about that because my understanding, and obviously I'm not an attorney, but my understanding is that there is going to be a significant financial risk for the taxpayers of Wisconsin if the casino goes through. Because for approximately the past 6 or 7 years, the tribes would have to be paid back, the Potawatomi would, the money that they paid to the state. So that could be upwards of a couple $100 million. On the other side, going forward, we know that all the compacts from the Ho-Chunks, the Oneida, the Menominee, the Potawatomi, all require kind of a hold harmless on the revenue side. I've seen documentation from the Ho-Chunk that shows that about $20 million would be the potential revenue loss just for the Ho-Chunks. So if you assume that the Potawatomi are significantly more than that, that could also add up to a pretty big bill. That's why, from my state role, I respect where the governor's at, which is trying to sit down, figure out what the financial impact's going to be, whether or not the Potawatomi are going to be made whole, and making sure that the Menominee, in their partnership with the Hard Rock, can financially achieve that goal. So that's my speaker's hat. Now, on the other side, representing the 63rd District, I mean, there is no topic that I hear about from folks more than the casino.
Right.
It doesn't matter if I'm at a holiday party, at the Chamber of Commerce, when I'm at church. It's the number one thing people bring up to me. And I have to tell you, it is universally supported. I have had maybe half a dozen people out of all of the contacts that I have received who are opposed to the casino. Everyone else is in favor. And they focus on one main topic, and that's jobs. We represent an area in Racine which has been economically frustrated in many ways because Kenosha has had a lot of growth and development. We have Amazon coming to town, there were manufacturers coming over the border, they've got a lot of potential. There are some good things happening in Racine, but nowhere near like they are in Kenosha County. We have Milwaukee County, where they've got the economic driver being the biggest engine in the state. So we're kind of squeezed between those two. And when they look and see that our county executive was able to negotiate 15% of the jobs at a minimum coming from Racine County, that's upwards of 500 people who could be employed with this casino. So I think they look and say, wow, a Hard Rock? I was just at a conference in Orlando, and we went to the Hard Rock in Orlando, and it was this wall of t-shirts. And I thought to myself, it's Stockholm, Edinburgh, Tokyo, Kenosha. How would that really fit? But how exciting would that be? Right. And I think that's why, from my role in the state legislature, from representing Racine County, I can't help but be supportive of it because it'll be so good for the economy. So that's why Governor Walker hopefully can figure out a way to accomplish all of the goals, but he's got a pretty tough challenge.
So your understanding is some of the that some of the money already paid by the tribes might have to come back, or the state might have to rebate some?
That's my understanding. That the potential would be going back upwards of 6 or 7 years.
That's part of the deal?
I think that's part of the understanding in those compacts.
Okay.
It's ironic because one of the first bills that I authored and got passed through the Assembly was a requirement that the legislature would have to adopt the compacts or any expansion of gaming. I still have always believed in that it should never be a single person's decision. I didn't support it when it was Governor Doyle. I really think it should be Governor Walker's sole decision, but that's the way the law is. So I fully support his effort to take the time, try to figure out if there's a way to get an answer, but I think it's a lot harder than folks think. It's not just simply, we don't want to compete between McDonald's and Burger King. It's the fact that a lot of promises were made to people who signed those compacts. I didn't have anything to say about them, but we still got to keep the promises.
Ernie Franz, an associate editorial page editor. This tends to break down to a regional issue. How does Brown County and Waukesha County feel about this?
I can tell you, I don't think my constituents really are supportive of more more gambling in the state. They want the jobs, they understand the need for the jobs, but if our economy is going to be driven by gambling, I don't think that's a choice they want to make. So I don't hear a lot about it, but when I do, that's what I hear.
In Waukesha County, it's not the ubiquitous issue that it is for the speaker, but I hear about it quite a bit, and what I hear is, why aren't we building a casino in Kenosha?
So they're supportive of it.
Everybody that's come to me about it has been supportive of it, and I'm not saying that it's been thousands of people.
Right.
But it's probably a couple dozen.
Speaker, when do you expect the governor to make a decision? Is this going to be something within the next 2 months, or will this turn into a political issue and get tied up around October?
You know what, honestly, I don't know. The only thing I do know is that under federal law, he has 365 days, which basically says that he'll make a decision no later than the first part of September. I mean, that's when this whole process started. I think Governor Walker has always been somebody, and I give him a whole lot of credit for it. He's pretty decisive, but he also tries to take in all that data. So the 60 days of having anybody who wants to give their opinion, give it. And we saw that from paid media to individuals who submitted testimony and all kinds of ideas. Now they're sifting through that. It's my understanding that Secretary of Administration Mike Hipsch is negotiating with the tribes to try to see if they can find a compromise to get everybody in a good place so the taxpayers can be protected, the Potawatomi can ensure that their successful business is not going to be harmed, and at the same time the Ho-Chunks could at least be held harmless. I mean, a lot of other factors that are playing into it. But I would assume that it would be sometime in the spring, just from, I have no idea other than what I believe. But I don't think we want to have this drag out over the course of the entire summer. I think that if it's going to be a yes, they should get the shovel in the ground, and if it's going to be a no, they should know that they have, to move in a different direction.